Join Vince and I, and even Dooms Vince, every Wednesday night at 7 Central Time on the Supervillain Network for a brand new episode of the Geekvolution Radio Hour. A full hour of intellectually stimulating discussion, or the next best thing. Steve, let's talk a little bit about Suicide Squad. We've got a new picture on Empire Magazine with Joker in his big long purple coat, and some people are really excited to see that. That is, I forget where that comes from, but the long purple coat is a thing.
I'm not sure. I feel like every Joker's kind of had that. He's had that since his first appearance.
Well, that's true, but I thought just like that particular one, like.
I don't know. He's
so
kind of got like a pimp coat thing. I've never seen that before.
Okay, that's true. No, I agree with you. It is kind of like that.
Glittery.
And you know, for the longest time, I argued a little bit with people and said, just wait and see the movie. Don't lose your mind about the tattoos. He's probably not going to have them, very much, if at all. And there was a lot of talk that first picture we got of him with the damaged tattoo and all that, all the stuff all over his face, and like the smile, the giant smile, and all that stuff. That was just like a 75th anniversary Joker thing, and that wasn't really what he was going to look like in the movie. And now we're seeing some of those tattoos on his chest and midsection. And that makes me think that I was probably right all along in the first place before I heard the 75th anniversary Joker thing when I said that, well, he probably just covers up a lot of those on his face with makeup. Yeah, I think he's got all those tattoos at this point.
Yeah, I think he does too.
Yeah.
Yeah?
That'd be neat. Well, Joker's just crazy enough to have tattooed everything
you
on
don't
him.
think damaged is just going a little too far?
I mean, the poster even says "Psycho Killer" because we need to know that about the Joker.
Look, isn't the
he should no Steve, he's just a really big fan of that song. He's just Joker just goes down the street going "Psycho Killer."
Joker always lays stuff on the line though, doesn't he though?
What does that mean?
Like he always tells it like he sees it. So he might just have that damaged tattoo on his forehead.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like that's perfectly acceptable for the Joker character.
I mean, yeah, the tattoo. The only problem with the tattoos I have, like,
label himself like that. I mean, like,
yeah, I mean, like, I feel like Joker with tattoos is not inherently a bad idea. It's just you have to play up the fact that this stuff is really obvious. Like he's being over the top and grandiose. Especially seeing what little we have of Ben Affleck Batman. Where he's just so absolutely serious in an extreme way. If Joker is just ridiculous on the other end of the spectrum, I think that could be really interesting. Because I really didn't like this picture at first, but I'm really liking it now. Especially after we heard that Jared Leto got advice from Grant Morrison. That's the best Joker writer ever. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's a really good point. There's been a little bit of talk about how it's maybe not a great thing that all we're hearing about is the Joker and not so much some of the other characters in the film. That does not surprise me even a little bit.
Doesn't surprise me, but it worries me quite a bit. Because
do you think a lot of those characters are just going to be kind of generic in background?
Yeah, I mean, if you're making a Suicide Squad movie, the big thing about Suicide Squad is that these are a bunch of characters that don't like being with each other, and they make each other's psychoses worse. That's why they're called the Suicide Squad. It's just because they're together, they become suicidal people. We haven't heard word one about Rick Flag, and Rick Flag is a massive character for that whole mythology. All we really know at this point is Joker's kind of the Hannibal Lecter background figure, and the main focus is going to be Harley and Will Smith. I'm not calling him Deadshot; he's not Deadshot. It's going to be Harley and Will Smith, and that's a little bit disappointing. Because Deadshot's not Wolverine. Deadshot's not the character you make in a starring role. He's the background guy that makes things you see more disturbing when you realize what his answers or solutions to problems are.
Well, and isn't Deadshot the kind of character where he seems really background, and then once you finish his story, you realize it kind of was all about him, but you weren't thinking that while you were reading it? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Deadshot in the whole 66-issue original run of Suicide Squad has like 3 issues that focus on him, but he's still kind of the star of the book.
Yeah, and I also think that you might be onto something about Rick Flag because he originally was supposed to be Tom Hardy was supposed to be cast as that role, and Tom Hardy in that role makes me think, well, he didn't get any dialogue.
Yeah.
Like, they probably just didn't give him any lines.
That's what I'm thinking. I feel like they're just casting generic military Rick Flag, and that's not that character.
Tom Hardy has this hilarious history. I'm not saying this is always the case, but he has this fun history sometimes where he either plays a character that's like really monosyllabic, or says almost nothing, or talks a whole lot but has to have his face covered in order to do it. That's not wholly true. He
Yeah.
talked a lot in Nemesis, but
Yeah,
that
and
was
Legends.
before anyone knew who he was, and I haven't seen that.
That's a good movie.
I knew.
Yeah, I mean that's worrisome. I like David Ayers. I'm still really excited for this movie. I just don't think it's
Me
a
too.
Suicide Squad movie.
And see, I don't have the background you do with that, or I don't have the emotional stake in it. So I mean, like, for me, and it's another one of those things. I say this a lot, where I'm like, I mean, I could read a whole bunch of Suicide Squad before, but then I'm afraid I might get more disappointed. I kind of just want to go into, like, most of the Suicide Squad I know of is other adaptations of it, and I've seen it adapted in so many different ways now that for me, like, that team has no identity, Steve. I've just seen so many different versions of Suicide Squad now. Like there's the one from that Arkham animated movie, and there's the one from Arrow, and I forget if they did it in Smallville. I think they sort of did it.
Yeah,
in
they had
Smallville.
Deadshot and Slade and everyone in season 10 or season 9 of Smallville.
I think yeah. The show has been going on too long.
Yes, exactly. That season.
But anyway, was there anything else you want to talk about with Suicide Squad, Steve?
The only thing I want to mention, because I'm not sure if you've addressed this on your other radio show, but Jared Leto being absolutely in character for the whole filming process, that to the point where the guy that plays his henchman, he called him up in the middle of the night and said, "I want you to go out and find a rose bush and spray paint it black." He sent a dead rat to Margot Robbie. He sent like
What?
6-inch nails to Will Smith. Will Smith has said that he hasn't talked to Jared Leto at all. He's just talked to the Joker. And Leto's even now said that now that he's out of character, he said that what he's done is created a character and an identity that he's going to try and work off for the rest of his life.
Yeah, I saw that quote. Wow, that's
interesting.
crazy.
So he's taken method acting to another level.
Yeah,
Well,
he's
and
like DiCaprio, Christian Bale level now.
Well, and even a level beyond Ledger. I mean, like it makes you wonder if he wasn't trying to. And this is maybe unfair to say. I'm not saying he was necessarily trying to top Ledger, but I mean, like, that's the big thing everybody talked about with Ledger, was that, like, when he was on set, he was always in character, and he didn't like to people would come to set, and whenever there was like a somebody visiting or whatever, he just wasn't there because he didn't want to scare anybody, but he didn't want to get out of character. But I think but it sounds like Leto's going even farther to stay in character in the middle of the night when everyone's sleeping and when they're not even filming. That's taking it to a whole different degree. Yeah.
I have a question for you. I've never asked this, but I've been meaning to ask it for a long time. Speaking of Ledger and Ledger's Joker, do you think the character got to Ledger? Do you think he might have started to go crazy on that?
No, I don't.
I
Don't think so.
I never bought that.
I don't think so. At the same time, I can completely understand it if that's the case, because I mean we really don't know. There's no way we can ever know at this point.
Right.
But I mean that's just one of those characters where you get inside the head of someone whose whole sole purpose and design was to make you terrified of being inside their head. Playing that type of character, regardless of what it makes you do in the future, has got to be a little bit traumatizing.
And complete chaos with the idea that with this complete like really extreme nihilism of nothing matters, and people at their core are really just basically animals, and we're only civil when it's convenient. That goes against everybody's ideology I know.
Yeah, and I mean,
I can't imagine
when you play a character in that way and you start sympathizing with their worldview, and it twists you a little bit.
Yeah, so I mean, like, it's going to affect anybody, and I like that that Leto is being so like upfront and real about it, where this idea that he's going to have to work it off his whole life. I think that's really interesting. Where it's like if you play that part, you know what you're getting yourself into. You also have to assume that he's probably going to play it again.
Yeah, for a Batman movie, probably.